actually finally have heard from the general. Jerry Jones addressed a lot of things yesterday evening on the Gray Lady, the Dallas Cowboys bus. And I've got a bunch of thoughts on what's going on with the Cowboys and ways to fix it. Last night was actually eye-opening for me because we ended up, shout out to Walker Wade. He shared with me a clip from 2015, and it reminded me of where we were in free agency last year. The thing that we have to understand is what we're going through right now is the same cycle that we always go through. Every off season, we end up losing players that we really and truly like and things like that, and we don't replace them. We don't do anything in free agency. We end up listening to all the talking heads say that the team doesn't care about winning and so on. And then by the end of training camp, we them boys. They got us as a Super Bowl favorite, even though we haven't done anything to address the issues that we have. Now, Jerry Jones, and I'll have some thoughts after we go through. We've got about 5 different clips from Jerry. I don't know if you feel hopeful or if you actually, I read between the lines and I see Jerry Jones kind of throwing Dak Prescott under the bus and trying to put pressure on him to make a deal and setting the table up as Dak Prescott being the blame guy. It's kind of like, you know when somebody says to you, I mean no disrespect, and they turn around and they disrespect you? Whenever you hear somebody say, I mean no disrespect, prepare to be disrespected, okay? So let's go to the tape here and listen to Jerry Jones on going all in, what it means to him.
Well, I will assure you there'll be some things done differently because we're going to be working on different players and drafting different people. Mm-hmm. And so just the very nature of it is different. Okay. Different people or different, we got different coaches. Right. I think the attention that the nuances of where we are with the cap, the nuances of where we are with our position in the draft, the nuances of where we are with our free agents, that we get that involved in the definition of we're all in. As you would look at every one of those aspects, and I probably left off with that many again, then we're going to be doing every solution or working toward the solution being to win this year. Every solution.
Okay, so one of those solutions is trying to do something different. So see, we keep going through and doing the same thing over the last couple of years. We get rid of Amari Cooper and don't replace him. We say Noah Brown. We believe in our own guys. Noah Brown and a gimpy Michael Gallup will be our solution at wide receiver as we see other teams go out and say, let's get a Stephon Diggs. Let's go out and get ourselves an A.J. Brown. Let's surround the quarterback with better talent. Okay? We go out, we lose a Connor Williams, a Connor McGovern, a Lyle Collins. Now, we did draft Amonte Smith, which was an incredible move, but that's the only positive move that you've seen that's been made on the Cowboys' offensive line. You know, Terrence Steele, they locked him up for the long term. I hope that Terrence Steele comes back around a lot better than he did last year, but the first year coming back from that injury was not good. And you're still with Tyron Smith. Tyron Smith played well this year, but you still have to have a plan B. So I'm not sure that anything has actually changed there. And this is where the Cowboys are the only team right now, as far as I can tell, that haven't done anything to address their salary cap situation. The Cowboys have actually gone in reverse as far as the cap numbers by signing or guaranteeing that this year that Trey Lance, giving him his roster bonus, have actually gone up in salary cap arrearage. I'm looking at New England that's got $101 million to spend. I'm looking at the Commanders that got $91 million. I'm looking at the Eagles that moved on from Dennis Bayard, who now have $41 million, and we are $10.5 million still above the cap. Okay. Next thing, Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, yes, I do. And because what is the all-in approach?
Oh, sorry.
The all-in. I'm not going all in if I don't get an extension. You don't have a situation like that.
Where do you stand with?
You just have to adjust where you're going, how you're going all in. Absolutely, I do.
Now, this is the all-in question. They said, can you go all in without a contract extension for Dak Prescott? Okay? And this is where I've said before, I said the Cowboys are setting it up that Dak Prescott will be the reason why they can't go all in. This is the Cowboys putting on pressure on Dak Prescott. Now listen to what he says here, because see, the thing is that's where you're going to be able to get the most cap relief. You can do Diggs, you can do Zach, you can do, DeMarcus Lawrence. But if you do Dax, if you do CDs, you're going to get more money. You're going to have a lot more money. You'd be able to get yourself somewhere around the nature of $50 million. And understand, today is Saturday. A week from tomorrow, free agency begins. And the Cowboys are setting themselves up that they're not going to be a player at all. So using all the avenues that Jerry Jones talks about, it's not looking like he's going to be using all of those avenues. But listen again to what he says, because this is key to the Dak Prescott contract.
Absolutely, I do. Yeah, yes, I do. And because what is the all-in approach? The all-in, I'm not going all in if I don't get an extension. You don't have a situation like that.
Where do you stand with?
You just have to adjust where you're going, how you're going all in. Absolutely.
Okay, so he's saying that, absolutely, we can still go all in if we don't get Dak Prescott's contract done. You'll just have to go a different avenue. Well, technically, if you don't get Dak Prescott's deal done, you can't really go all in, because that's money that you would be using to go all in. So that's one of those ones that you look at and say, okay, you can't really. And the thing is what'll happen is, if they don't get Dak Prescott's deal done, Dak Prescott will be the fall guy and say, well, we wanted to, but Dak Prescott was greedy, and basically throw him under the bus. Next part on here, Mike McCarthy, okay? And the lack of him having a contract and so on, if that is a hindrance to the team. Let's go to the tape.
People from the outside would say, if your head coach is in the last year of his deal and your DC has a one-year deal, whatever that, if it's not a championship, then there's going to be change made. That would be the perception from people. What do you say to that?
And I see that. And but it always has been. I've made changes in coaches with years on their contract, and so I've done both. The way we did these particular contracts were what they are, but they're not all the systems aren't 1 year.
People from the outside would say.
Okay, so being, Mike McCarthy, basically he's saying, Mike McCarthy, it doesn't matter, because I've gotten rid of coaches before when they've had time left in their contract. Wade Phillips, he fired him still on his contract. I think we fired the offensive line coach that we got from Cincinnati during the season and stuff. So he's saying, that doesn't matter whether he has an extension or not, because he could still get an extension.
Say, if you
he could still get an extension if they do well. So, okay. Improving. Here we go again.
You should look at. We need some better help in a run game. Period.
There you go.
The things you guys have been pointing to. Need some help in that run game. We certainly need to really be more disciplined relative to penalties.
More discipline relative to penalties, okay? And I can say that when you think about in past years, we don't look at the team holistically. We only look at the quarterback. But you have to understand, like when we lost to San Francisco, where Randy Gregory ends up tackling an offensive lineman and gets a 15-yard penalty that gives them a first down, which extends the drive and keeps us from having enough time, and we don't have enough time to go all the way down the field. Those things hurt. You can think about when Sam Williams ends up roughing the kicker and they get a first down and, are able to eat up more clock, that these things are game killers. When you have, a great play down the field and you get a holding call, those things are a hindrance, and you have to cut down those penalties. Unfortunately, the Cowboys are always micro watched by the officials, and they're not given the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know that there's any changing of that. So that is true, but I think there also needs to be accountability that needs to go with that. I think Mike Zimmer is not going to be the, don't worry about it, Johnny, we'll get it next time. It's going to be, I hope, sit your ass down. You're not going to put us in a bad situation. And I think that discipline does need to take place. Go on, Jerry.
At critical times, untimely penalties, and those come to my mind. At the same time, we are going to certainly probably lose players. So we need to have some of the younger players that we have step up and be a part of what we're doing on both sides of the ball.
Okay. Now, you could definitely say that what we got out of a rookie class this year, those younger guys need to definitely step up, okay? What we got from Mazi Smith, it almost feels like when you're looking at the players that they're talking about and things like that, that they're almost ready to move on from Mazi Smith. I don't know what the plan was with Mazi last year, who was your big guy on the defensive line at 337 to lose 40 pounds, and you don't have a run stopper. To me, that was kind of crazy. The thing that he did good was stop the run. And a lot of times with the Cowboys that happens is we decide, yeah, you can do this, but we want you to do that instead. And you take the thing that they are doing well, and then you try and teach them something different, and then you mess up what they were doing. I don't know that Mazi Smith losing 40 pounds was the best idea or not. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it just doesn't seem like the right thing. And the final one is, I done lost it, is this one. And this one is the one that makes you say, Jerry Jones is now negotiating Dak Prescott's contract through the media. No ifs, ands, or buts about this. The signing Trey Lance to this extension, which is the only move that they've made, other than talking to Michael Gallup's agent, because he's got a roster bonus that if they have to either pay real soon or they're going to need to cut him. And they can make him a post June 1st and spread out the $13 million over 2 years. One way or the other, they're going to have to do something with Michael Gallup. But the only move that the Cowboys have made is taking care of Trey Lance. And I think that this is directly at Dak Prescott to say, I mean, he's saying the right things about Dak. We want to get a deal done and so on. But this is no different than Stephen Jones saying Dak's got to leave money on the table. They've just dressed it up differently. And here it is. He's praising Trey Lance and his development. Listen in.
Era is really up. He's every bit he's exceeded expectations as a person, as a worker, as a character. He's got unique skills. He's very much what we had planned on, hoped, and when we gave the pick, we knew we would be paying the bonus right now. That was a part of the same decision, but that's been reinforced by what he's been with the team and the person he is, potentially the player. Now we don't know any more on the field from experience in games. We don't know any more than we knew when we brought him on, and that is his college and that is his time in San Francisco. So we didn't get to see that. What we do know, though, is what he's done in practice and what he's been. Well, by baseball, I'll be real clear. We don't know about his game experience, his competitive experience, but we do know about his practicing and things he's done there. All plus.
So you expect a competition with him and Cooper in camp and preseason next year? Is that your expectation?
Yes.
Okay, so the way I take this, because, see, I want you to understand that right now, as we said, he's already said, well, if we don't get a deal done with Dak, then we can still go all in, but just have to do things differently. You praise Trey Lance, although you say we don't know about his game play. We know that he is really good at putting in the work and everything else, and that he'll be competing with Cooper Rush. Understand that at the moment, the Dallas Cowboys have $67 million tied up at quarterback for this season. $67 million. And that would be a hard thing to swallow. I believe that the writing is on the wall that Cooper Rush won't be here as a Cowboy, that'll be one of the spots that we cut to save some money, and that they'll draft a young guy late in the draft or pick up another journeyman quarterback that will be cheaper. But what I think this is, and I don't think Jerry Jones in his mind wants to have Trey Lance starting for the Cowboys this season. I don't think that's the case. But Jerry Jones is trying to let you know that we have options, Todd France, Dak Prescott, if you don't want to deal. We can go through the year and say, okay, we're going to bite the bullet and pay you. But let's work this out. Because the reality is, in my mind at least, is if the Cowboys don't do things differently than what they've done, if we do exactly the same thing in free agency, we go through, we re-sign our Stephon Gilmores and Tyron Smiths and, our Hankins and things, and then we go out and we go try and find some more, veteran minimum type of free agents to fill in the roster. We go in the draft with less picks because we got rid of our 5th and our 4th round pick and things like that, that we'll still be competitive. You got CD. You got Jake Ferguson, who's going really good. You got Tyler Smith. We got too many damn Smiths. Tyron Smith when he's healthy and things like that. You've got Zach Martin, and hopefully, Terrence Steele will be better. And, maybe they end up picking up a middle-of-the-road running back, which is, I think, key more than anything else. And looking at that and looking at the numbers, it is evident what the running game does for you. But I want to end this morning with Norm's rant, because we always hear, Jerry Jones is going to change things and this, that, and the other. But understand, this was 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And please tell me what has changed.
This team and what they've been able to roll out, and you expect to get a win.
I want to tell
You would have to.
Donovan and I are in the process, I really mean this, a process of forming a relationship. We're working every day about who takes this segment, or you've got this opinion, or I've got that opinion. Every day, I'll come in and say, Donovan and Michael said, maybe we want to go this direction. Yeah, that's a good direction. What I appreciate about Donovan is he's given me at times 3 or 4 moments to still go off. And I wish to go off on this football team.
All right, go off, Norm.
If you enjoy being laughed at, Jerry, then revel in it. Climb right into the spotlight and revel in it. Your team is now the most ridiculous team in the National Football League. The pregame shows, the postgame shows, all over network TV, all the commentators, they're laughing at you. They're watching you unravel in public. It's like a circus. Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, and watch the Dallas Cowboys unravel right before your eyes. Look at them in the locker room, fighting and screaming. Look at them on social media. Look how they look like they don't give a damn on the field. Look at a coach that you have castrated. Does Jason Garrett have any control of personnel? Absolutely not. If he had control of personnel, some of the people that started the year on this team wouldn't be here. Does he have any control of discipline? Oh, please. Please. That's funnier than a Seinfeld routine. Does he have control of a lineup? I suggest he doesn't even have control of a lineup. Who announced McFadden was going to be the starting running back? Who announced Castle was going to replace Whedon? And let me ask you something. If the coaching staff had its way, would Rolando McClain have been back here? And if he were back here, would he have been benched by now for some of his play in the last few weeks? Does any other coach in the league have a situation where he's been so neutered? He does not control discipline. He has no final word. Hardy's late for meetings, virtually skips a meeting. Any discipline? I don't know. Coach Jones, what do you think? You run the team. You run the lineup. You run the roster. You run the discipline. Hey, should Garrett be yelled at? Yeah, he should. Yeah. But on the other hand, does he have charge of the locker room? If he goes in the locker room and puts his foot down, do 14 people giggle? Or do they sit there tweeting during his talk? Let me tell you something. If you beg to look ridiculous, Jerry, you got it. You got it. When Des Bryant went off on Rich Dalrymple, he should have been yanked into your office and said, this happens again, and I'm fining you a game check. When Hardy misses meetings, he should have been yanked into your office and say, listen, young man, somewhere along the line, you got to stop this. You have been benched this week. You do not play against Tampa. I don't give a damn who we play. I don't care if we have to run out Ryan Russell or Jack Crawford or some yahoo that I fish out of the stands 10 minutes to game time. At some point, doesn't your soul hurt, Jerry? Doesn't it hurt to keep giving guys like Josh Brent and Joseph Randall and Greg Hardy and ad nauseum chances to play again, and they laugh at you, they take your money, and they shoot you a freaking finger every week? Where the hell is your soul, Jerry? Where the hell is it? Do you not care that everybody laughs like crazy at your football team? It's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose when you've also sacrificed your damn soul. This locker room has no one in charge of it because the man who's supposedly in charge of it has no right to discipline. Get your butt down in locker room, Jerry, and you discipline. You go locker to locker and tell Cole Beasley, shove that phone as far up as it goes, baby. You're off Twitter. And Des, you do that again, and we are going to have a serious monetary talk, pal. And I don't care if I have to discipline you or Hardy or name it. Pick anybody else who steps out of line. I can lose without you guys. I can lose without you. And damn, yesterday we did lose without Greg Hardy. Somebody wore his shirt, and that's all yesterday. Come on. Come on. We've gone through losing seasons before, but this is an embarrassment. The whole league looks at you and they're laughing at you. This isn't a 7-game losing streak. This is a surrender of your freaking soul. Thank you, Donovan. Thank you.
What a pleasure that was to watch in person.
There you have it. So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So, good people, we'll see if anything actually changes. Jerry Jones always gives you the headlines and is always in the forefront of everything that the Cowboys do. And here it is. We're talking the talk. We are talking the talk right now of, hearing the things that we want to hear. We're going all in, we're going to get Dak Prescott's deal done, and we're going to go out and we're going to look at all the different phases and things of getting better talent. We're going to get the young guys playing better. We're going to hold the players accountable here when they make dumb penalties and things. We're going to use all tools available with free agency and things. He's still talking about being all in. But the problem is your actions thus far are still the last minute. You are still waiting to even get under the salary cap a week before you can start talking to people. Believe me, everybody out there, every GM and ownership is talking to potential free agents now, getting them and letting them know, we want your guy. What is it going to take for us to make a deal? We want to be in place by next Sunday to make a move to bring you into our fold. The Cowboys aren't meeting with any agents. The Cowboys aren't even working on getting their salary house in order. The Cowboys, they're just there. So, Jerry, he's talking the talk. Let's see you walk the walk and show us that you're actually going to do something. All right, good people. It's so hard being a Cowboy fan. It is so hard. But it's too late to change. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace out.